So I'm trying to find a way here just to sort of organize my bar area a little bit better in the basement here and avoid having to put any of the liquor bottles up on here. And in contemplating it, I'm seeing a lot of the little pallet projects that I have going on here, from, you know, homebrew metal display to just some movie poster framing. I've got these little side tables that I made here just to display some of my graphic novels. Also a pallet table here, all with these sweet bottles there under the glass. So I'm thinking of going with something that is going to sort of maintain that pallet look. So I think it's pallet liquor shelf time. Come along for the ride. So in keeping with the pallet motif, I did pick up a couple of pallets here. I actually just need one of them for this operation here, but these are really nice pallets. They have good 1-inch thick strips on them here. The 2x4s all look really good, so they're super solid and it's gonna work awesome. So let's get to it. Because of the layout of these pallets here, I'm wanting the 2x4s to essentially be the shelves. So I'm going to just have 2 shelves that I'm building here, but it's going to be constructed as a single unit. I've got, I believe it's about 17 inches here in between these two, which will be enough to accommodate most sizes of bottles. And if I have ones that are taller, they can go up on the top shelf. So my plan is that this is going to be the front side of the shelves. So I need to remove these particular strips. I'm going to leave the ones on the back, and they are going to be what braces and connects the 2x4s. Now, in order to remove these strips here, I mean, there are different ways you can do this. But what I'm going to be doing here right off the bat is I just have this old chisel. This is a really good way, because these are super tight in along these 2x4s. Just getting that in here and using that to pry a little bit of an initial gap at one end here. I did flip this pallet. This is this half that I'm not going to be using. So I do want to start dealing with these strips of wood on this side, because if it messes up the 2x4s here a little bit, I am not worried at all. So now that I have these loosened, I mean, it is certainly possible to remove them all completely by hand. I mean, if you've got like a big crowbar or something like that. In fact, I've done that before with certain jobs that I've had in the past where I've been working with pallets. That was before I learned the old Sawzall trick, just with a metal blade. What we're going to do here now is just go in and actually cut all of the nails that are holding these on. See, I find that a little bit easier than trying to muck around with prying these pieces of wood up. And just like that, the boards are disconnected from that first piece now. And now I can just give these a pull, and we can loosen this board from the next one and resume cutting. And with that first one removed, I'm just going to ensure that I have access to the second board and continue. The next one. And then this last one I could cut, or it looks like with just a little prying, I'll be able to get this off here. I'm gonna pop this one off and then get through the rest of them. Now with all those boards removed, I'm just gonna put this back to the side that I care about. I'm just going to deal with these nails. Now I could either just like pound them back in, or as I'm going to, just pull them out. And then for the rest of these nails that I did have to cut, because that was making my life a lot easier, just gonna give them a nice little tap in. And just to be safe, I'll just use a little punch here just to tap them in and ensure that I don't ever accidentally brush up against them or anything like that. I've just flipped this around. So again, this is the half that I'm working with here. I do want to separate it from the rest of everything. So I'm just lining this up so that we're even with all these 2x4s here. I'm just going to draw a line that'll make it a little bit easier to follow when I go to cut. Then we'll just cut this here with the skill saw. And there we go. Separation complete. All right, there we are. So I'm just going to grab my sander. Now, I don't want to sand this too terribly much here, because I am sort of going for like a kind of rougher, half unfinished sort of look with all the pallet stuff going on in my basement, but I do want to address just some areas where I might potentially have slivers or something like that. So just using the orbital palm sander here, I'm going to give this a little rip. Now that sanding complete, I do sort of want to finish off the edges there of the 2x4s that'll be exposed. But I'm going to do that just with one of the planks that I had removed, sort of one of the nicer ones here that has no damage of any sort. I'm just going to rip this in half here using my table saw. Now the whole idea with these is that they're going to go just right flat with the top of each shelf, but then just sort of give it more of that pallet finish here. Also, it's going to help extend the width of these shelves, particularly this bottom one here. The top one does have that extra inch, but this bottom one here is cut a little bit short. So this way, I'm going to gain an extra inch here on the bottom, which should just make it easier to safely store bottles. I am just going to give this a quick light sanding here because this is really quite prickly, and then we'll be ready to attach it. Now for attaching these strips here, I could nail them on as that's a little bit more classic pallet. However, in the interest of speed and also using every power tool I apparently own, I'm actually going to just use the old brad nailer here with 1.5 inch brads, which should be hopefully sufficient to hold this on. So I'm just lining it up flush with the top and reasonably flushed here. Looks like we're maybe overall not quite 1/8 of an inch shorter here, but that's okay. So that top one seems to be holding really quite nicely. Just going to repeat the exact same process here with the bottom. Just giving it a good number of those brads just to make sure that it never gives way. And then my final step outside here is just kind of going over it, just looking for any little sort of frayed ends or anything that might catch on something, and just giving them a quick sand. I'll also just take a hand brush to this, clean it off, and then we can get down to the basement. Correction, leaf blower. So right next to the bar here, this is where this shelf is going to go. Just on this space here, it's actually going to occupy pretty much the full width between the TV and the edge here. So we just have to figure out exactly where we want to mount it. Installing this is going quite smoothly here. I'm just pre-drilling holes and then throwing some 3-inch screws here into the studs. And just like that, shelf installed. Time to set it up. So there you have it, fun little afternoon project using a pallet that I got for free. Sort of a variety of ways that you can make that work, and you sort of have to be flexible depending on the particular type of pallet that you've got and what you're trying to achieve with it. But either way, totally possible, and just a great way to sort of maintain that pallet kind of rough wood look that I've got down here in the bar area. So probably just time to have a little drink here, and until next time, keep Route 11.